The Philadelphia Zoo was established in March of 1859. 15 years later, it finally opened its doors to the public.
Often when I tell people that, they're very surprised to hear that. It was like, well, why did it take so long for them to start construction and then end construction? And that's because of the Civil War. Basically, the Civil War happened right in between there and completely cut off all of the resources that would have been used to build the zoo.
Once it finally opened, the Philadelphia Zoo was extremely popular because of its many innovations, including a children's zoo, animal health laboratory, and many other breakthroughs that the world had never seen before.
So the zoo really was a phenomenon its opening day and continued to be for many years. Not that it isn't today, but really it was the zoo for North America for a long time. And it had the most diverse collection of animals that had ever been seen at the time in any zoo. We started out as merely just places where you could see animals, but now we are the forefront of science and conservation, but also still a place where you can go and see cool animals.
A lot of zoos have started to model what they're doing after what we are doing. So we like to be pioneers in what we do. We like to be ahead of the game, and that's one of the ways that we are setting ourselves apart from the rest of the zoos.
The mission here at the zoo is to connect the people and the guests with wildlife and to inspire them to take action steps at home once they leave the zoo, to not only come here and enjoy the animals while they're here, but take that with them outside once they go home so they can help in turn save wildlife.
One of the ways they carry out their mission is leading by example.
We like to walk the talk, not just talk the talk.
In addition to their sustainability efforts, the zoo offers many educational programs to engage their visitors throughout the community in the cause.
We offer programs about habitats, about the connections that we have with wildlife, how we can impact animals around the globe. I think that's the core of our programs, how we in our daily lives affect animals around the planet.
We do Zoo on Wheels, which is our traveling program. We do our overnight stays, which have themes that are based on wildlife conservation. And we also have an awesome summer camp program here as well.
Zoo on Wheels is a unique program that brings the Philadelphia Zoo to you. This educational outreach has the potential to engage the youth outside of the zoo's gates.
If a kid sees an animal that they really like, they get really into it, but then you tell them that this animal is declining in the wild, and then they start to feel for it. And then that's how we go into tying it all together and try to get them to connect to them. So once they go home, they can do stuff that's pretty simple that you wouldn't realize. Like, for example, kids can turn off the water while they're brushing their teeth instead of letting the water run. It ultimately saves water, which will in turn help save wildlife.
So our overnight programs are designed for scouts. Mostly I would say that's the core of our clientele, but we also have family overnights, and we even have adult overnights where we give basically our guests, we give them a totally different outlook on what the zoo is like.
This year, the majority of the zoo's programs will focus on the Year of the Gorilla, especially the Wildlife Warriors Summer Camp.
We're focusing this year on our great apes, specifically the gorillas, the gibbons, and the orangutans, because those are the great apes that we have here at the zoo. And then they also get really awesome interactive experiences where they get to go feed the animals or pet the animals. Anything from petting the rhino to feeding the giraffe to feeding fish, or actually feeding the polar bears as well. So we kind of tie in the conservation method, but also give them personal experiences with the animals so they can all tie it all together.
Perhaps the most popular attractions at the zoo are the demos and exhibitions that the animals put on to entertain the crowds. Daily demos at the zoo include pigeons, goats, and rats.
Our rats actually can sort out recyclables and trash and put them in the proper bin, so we relay this message to them, so if a rat can recycle, so can you.
However, a very common misconception about these demos is that they force the animals into being performers. In reality, these exhibitions are actually enrichment programs that support the animals' natural ways of life.
We don't force anything on our animals. We do positive reinforcement at all times. So when they're ready, they're gonna come back, and it's the same for all of our animals. They have access to the trails. If they do not want to go in the trails, they don't have to go. So we always give them that freedom of choice to make sure that they have the best possible quality of life.
Because of its landlocked position, The trail system is an innovative way to continue the zoo's expansion.
The Philadelphia Zoo is stuck at 42 acres, so we have to get more creative about our land usage here at the Philadelphia Zoo.
Unlike many other institutions around the country which have room to expand, we do not. So since we can't build out, we decided to build up.
This expansion is extremely important to the animals because it offers more space than a traditional zoo exhibit.
The system is still sort of in its infancy, but we're seeing already the incredible benefits of giving these animals these sort of trails that enable them to move around even more than larger zoos are able to.
By offering them these amazing structures where they can roam, where they can have behaviors that they would have in the wild, then we're offering them this great quality of life, and that's what we're trying to do with this trail system. And we're expanding it. So it started with the small primates, big primates like the orangutans, now this year the gorillas, and we're moving to African plains next year.
The zoo has won many awards, including Exhibit of the Year. However, even with its rich history, the zoo doesn't hang its hat on the past. Today, the zoo remains recognized nationally as one of the best zoos in the entire United States. The Philadelphia Zoo topped the list of USA Today's 10 best zoo exhibits for their Big Cat Crossing and continues to be one of the major trendsetters in the industry.
We're by far not the biggest zoo in America, but we're definitely ahead of the pack on many levels. Our sustainability policy and the way that we are involved in the field and the way that we are supporting conservation projects, and that's what makes the Philadelphia Zoo so special.